Let's start by looking at the last 2 years grades that our schools have earned. We're just looking at the last 2 years because it's just been that long since our current rules for figuring grades have been used. So in the far right column, you'll see the grades that our schools earned a couple of years ago, and in the column closest to the school names are our current grades based on our 2017 ISTEP results. I'm not going to really go into the details about how Richmond High School's grade is figured. There are quite a number of factors that don't apply to our intermediate and elementary buildings, but I'd simply like to say, RHS, a B 2 years in a row? Wow, fantastic. Good job, RHS. You can see our 2 intermediate buildings and our 6 elementary buildings for their current grades. And I want to really draw your attention to Star Elementary. Star had a previous grade of a D and jumped all the way to a B in its most recent grade. So let's use their report card to give a quick overview. So here we have Star's current report card, and you'll see that their overall grade is that B, and the points they earned overall were 81. Equal contributors to those points are the performance domain and the growth domain. Half of the grade comes from performance, and the other half comes from growth. So in order to see, since kids take tests in both English, language arts, and math that apply to our grades, we can look a little bit lower and see the actual performance for both those subject areas. And at Star, there were 101 total 3rd and 4th graders who had a valid score from this past year, and 51 of those students passed for a percent of 50.5. And in mathematics, not quite as high a pass rate, about 10% lower, really close to 40% of the students passed. In the growth domain, though, which is down below, those points are reversed, and mathematics really shines. ELA is not too shabby either, though. Check this out. The points earned for growth in English Language Arts at Star were 93.6. That's an A. That's fantastic. In mathematics, though, the total points earned 140. Are you serious? What in the world did those students do in order to get 140 total growth points? I want you to know a couple things here, and I've got a little illustration to draw out a point I want to make. The students' scores for growth are not all treated equally when they're averaged to come up with the final points. So what you do is you take the students' scores from that prior year and you rank order the kids from low to high, and you divide them into 2 groups, the bottom 25% group and the top 75% group. And that's where my picture comes in. For every 1 student in the bottom 25% group, there are 3 students in the top 75% group. So even though there's 3 times more students, when you average grades for growth, you first average the top 75% group, you average their total growth points, and you average separately the students' points for growth in the bottom 25% group. And then those final 2 scores are averaged together to get the total points. So when you look at English Language Arts, the bottom 25% group, 97.9 for growth points, and the top 75% group, not shabby at all, 89.3. But in mathematics, 146 points for the students in that bottom 25%, and then 133.8 for students in the top 75% growth group, for a total of 140 40 points on average for growth in mathematics by those fourth graders at STAR. When you average the final growth points for English language arts and math together, that's where you come up with the overall points of 116. So now that we've gone through this sample report card, let's move on.